In today's video, I played chess on the largest chessboard in Hawaii. So basically, this game was taking place between me and a fellow tourist when we were both traveling to Hawaii. And so the board we were playing on is actually, I'm not sure the exact square inch of the board, but it was like by Hawaii's Chess Federation. It was one of the largest chess boards that they've ever created. And ironically, actually, the guy that I was playing actually was on the same plane ride as me when we were both coming to Hawaii. So he was like a fellow tourist, and I've seen him before, and he loved playing chess. And another ironic thing was at that same time that I visited that board, he was also there too, at the same time. So, and yeah, so when I saw him, I was like, oh, I saw you before. Do you want to play a game? And he said yes. And the game I'm going to show you today is the game between us. I think he's around 1900 on chess.com. And I'm around, he's around 1700 on chess.com. And I'm around 1600 on chess.com. So pretty close. He was 100 rating points above me, which is, I guess, a lot. But in terms of chess on board is not too much. And yeah, so enjoy the game today between me and my fellow tourist. Yeah, and if you want to subscribe and like, that'd be very helpful. Thank you, and yeah, enjoy the game. Okay, so here's the game between me and my fellow tourist. His name is Mr. Lloyd, his profile is Mr. Lloyd 123, or Into the Lloyd. He has two profiles. Okay, so and I'm playing the white pieces, and he's playing the black pieces. And yeah, here is the game. So I played e4, which is my favorite opening, and he played the Scotch. Sorry, not the Scotch. He played the what's it called? French defense. Okay, so he went e6, and then these are all book moves. I went d4, and he went d5. Okay. And after this position, I actually went knight c3 first instead of just taking the pawn. So yeah, so after this position, he pinned me on b4. He went bishop to b4, pinning me to my king. Very good move immediately, so he can take this pawn without me having to take back, right? So that's a very good move. And so instead of making him like take the pawn, I pushed my pawn, which is probably the best move in that situation. Amazing move to do, because preventing the movement of the knight to f6. Okay, so then he went c5, which is trying to break open the center. This move is exactly tries to break open the center. So if I take, then I have two weak pawns. These pawns are both extremely weak. So yeah, so he went there, and then I went. I tried to attack his guy, his bishop, and he took me. So we traded, and I had a strong center, right? A strong three pawn center. Okay, so after this, he went queen to a5, trying to attack that pawn and also fork me at the same time. Yeah, and then so I defended with my bishop, and he went queen a4, which is, I would not prefer queen a4 because, I don't know, I don't think it really accomplishes anything, in my opinion. Okay, so then I did b2, trying to gain the open file for my rook, and it's also good to always get an open file for your rook at any point. So yeah, so this is a good position. I know I'm not going to castle this side, so I can move my rook and get into the action of the game. Okay, so he moved the pawn forward, trying to get his 4-pawn center. Good move from him. And I went queen c1, preventing the queen from taking that pawn. And then yeah, he just developed his knight. And then this move, again, I'm trying to maintain my structure in the center right now. So I did f4. And yeah, I think it's a pretty good move, preventing, again, the blockage of the queen. The queen cannot even come to this side of the board. Okay, so then he went queen e7, which is, in my opinion, a good move, because he couldn't go here or he couldn't go here. I mean, he could go there, but as the saying says, night on the room is dim. So yeah, so he went here, and then I pushed another pawn, trying to create a break-in on this side of the board. And I know he cannot castle, like knowing he cannot castle on this side, basically. I'm making sure he cannot castle on this side. I'm preventing the castling on this side of the board. So yeah, I did that, and then he moved the bishop to d7. I thinking to castle, but then he did a very weird move after this. So he did this thinking to castle. So after he did this, I think, yeah, I just developed my knight to this square, and thinking that he would castle, but he actually moved his rook to b7. Sorry, b8. No, sorry, yeah, b8. And this move is kind of weird in my opinion, because in my opinion he should have just castled. Okay, this move, he's preventing the castling from this side, and if he ever castles this side, I have a whole pawn storm that will push up the board. So yeah, so castling on this side is pretty bad, and he just prevented himself from castling on the other side. Okay, so after he did that, I moved my bishop to h3, and yeah, just maintaining my structure of my pawns. This move, pretty passive move, but yeah, getting your pawns to the action. Trying to push this pawn, obviously. Next. So then I castled, and then he went for this. Okay, and this move, he's thinking that if I take, like here, if he takes, or sorry, if he'd probably take with the rook, actually. And getting his rook into the action, and yeah, good move for him. But in this position, actually, let me go back. I actually did not take, and I did, yeah, knight g5. So the whole point of knight g5 is to maintain my position on the board, and also try to attack his king as much as possible. His king is very weak right now, and it's in a very bad position. So yeah, I'm trying to attack his king much as I can. Okay. Pawn, this, again, passive move. Sorry, pawn push, very passive move. And I moved the pawn up like this, okay? So this is my next move. And he took this pawn, and instead of taking it back, I actually took this too, to create some sort of counterplay. So obviously not wanting any sneaky attacks on this pawn, he guarded this pawn first. So yeah, so after all that, I took this first, okay? And instead of taking back, he took the other piece. He took my bishop with his rook, which is not a scary move, actually, if you think about it, because his queen is locked up on this side of the board. He can't move anywhere, and he really only has one rook versus all my pieces, so he can't do anything. So yeah, and then I went back, trying to attack his queen, maybe trap it. He went up, his only move with his queen, and I took the pawn, free pawn. Yeah, these are some just middle game moves. So moved his queen back, trying not to get trapped, and I checked him. Yeah, I checked him, and he moved his king down and then I took this pawn. Boom. So look at my position right now. Look at his position. My position is much better. His king is in a very weird position right now, locked in by so many pieces. And yeah, so I'm in a good position. So yeah, so after that, he took my rook, obviously, and I took back. Okay, and then after this position, he just took the pawn. It was a free pawn, except it's not a free pawn. I don't know why I just said it was a free pawn. It was not a free pawn. But the whole point of this, like when I'm saying it's a free pawn, because if I take, which I did, there's maybe a sneaky move like this, right? And for me, that's not a good move, because if I, like, let's say I do this, right? The queen is coming in. That's all I can say. The queen is coming in. The queen has an entire board to come in on, and I'm kind of trapped in this position. So he sacrificed, like, let me just go back. So he sacrificed this, right? And I obviously took it, and he checked me, like I just said, right? All these moves happened, but instead of moving my king, I blocked it with my rook, right? And yeah, with the eval ball, I did not like that very much, because yeah, he can do that, but I would prefer this, actually. So what he did was, I didn't show you. He sacrificed the rook, because if I took the rook, he would have taken this. Sorry, he would have, if I took the rook, he would have taken this and also won my bishop. So not good for me. Okay, so instead of taking the rook first, I actually gave him a queen check. Okay? And he moved his queen down, sorry, king down, and more backup on my, on my rook. But. I'm going to show you something. Watch this. So this is good for me, right? Boom. Look at the eval bar. Look at the eval bar right now. Look at the actual eval bar. Okay, in this position, he has a lot of moves that could change the game. Okay, so first of all, his rook can move like this, right? Very, very, very near the board right now. And this is very scary for me. This is not one bit of a good position for me. Even close, okay? But one thing he did not notice, though, is that he blundered the rook. Except. Right? He took the pawn. I went back down. Right? He took this. I did this. He checked me, trying to get a repetition. But then, what he didn't realize in this move, and this was the biggest blunder of the day, what he did not realize was this move. Do you notice? Do you notice something? Do you notice something? Yeah. He lost his queen in one move. And that's what ended the game. This queen blunder that he did ended the entire game.